And hello once again. We finally made it. Actually, this is. Oh, cool! It's running out of time. One of my favorite songs in the game still. So yeah, we as stated there, we have now made it within the inner stronghold.
I'm sorry. Are these guys trying to chase after us, or are they literally doing a tap dance routine?
They're getting ready for the welcoming routine. Oh, and I guess I found invisibility mirror, but very good time. I need this momentary stealth to grab some power-ups. You can't see me. Ow!
Where'd she go? Where did she go?
George.
Where did she go?
George,
you see where she went? I don't know, Phil.
Nope, I'm over there.
Die.
You know, I am here. I am here.
Do you see where she went, Alice?
I don't know, Alice. Where did Alice go, Alice? Okay, let's move forward.
Quick real talk. I'm kind of just the whole George thing. I kind of wish I was able to have saved a copy of that thing we did for Sealy years ago.
Oh yeah, the whole the Looney Tunes thing. That was so long ago.
It was.
I know.
You
Anyway,
know,
so
maybe my eyes were just playing with me, but did one of those portraits look like freaking Pennywise?
that was Tweedledee and Tweedledum on top of one another.
Okay.
So the red and white. So we have one final puzzle before we can access the Queen, because those doors are locked. So the puzzle is this: we rotate this mirror around. So there's Tweedledum on the far right there.
Okay.
So we rotate the mirror, and then when we look into the mirror, we'll see a card suit on the thing behind us.
There's the clubs.
So the club, die card soldier, get out of here, skedaddle, shoot.
Okay, I'll leave.
Oh god, he has friends.
Well, you
He has
guys.
friends.
Go on, get out of here.
Go on, get.
We're having a good time, I tell you. Anyway, so
Until you showed up, card man.
go make some tea
with crumpets or something. Because I'll tell you something. This is a wonderland.
I just realized actually with the syllable should have been go get me some crumpets with tea or something.
Yes,
or
yes,
something.
But anyway, so back to the puzzle before we drive James insane until he joins the Looney Bin. The puzzle is you look at the mirror, you look at what the card suit was. So that was it was the club. So
yeah.
now we're going to go up here. Might as well get some more grasshopper toxin because this is disgusting. I'm a monstrosity. Let's move. So don't mind the fact that I'm not.
Follow me.
There we go.
Set me.
Okay, here's the club door.
Join me, and we can escape from the castle.
So we go into the club door, and now we're in the club room. Not that club room. Throw your knife at the right picture, and there's 1/3 of the puzzle done. And then literally,
And then the sky disappeared.
yeah, pretty much. And then literally, I'm just gonna cut this out because literally it's just you going back and forth, back and forth. But yeah, now you just rotate the mirror again.
That's not tedious at all.
It's odd that it just kind of happens here, but yeah. So this one, the Jabberwock is the diamond. Let's run. Go back over here. Oh, and the enemies respawn in the room that I just. And the room that I just came in, the big elevator room, the enemies do respawn every time, so you just have to kill them. It's not... It is randomly repetitive at the very... But this is like the very end of the game we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Jabberwock.
Oh, there's the sky again.
There he is. Hiya!
There he is.
Okay. Cool.
So that just happened.
One more...
Okay.
So, and unfortunately, no, you can't just rush it. The door literally will not unlock unless you rotate the mirror around, so I can't... Actually, I couldn't just run over to the last room and throw. I had to rotate the mirror first, then the door unlocks, and I already know it's gonna be the spade because that's the only one that was left.
I believe I can fly.
So we'll go over here to the spade room. Oh god, no, I'm not.
That's the
I
Mad
just
Hatter,
slipped into
right?
Yes. And okay, random talk. Have you guys ever thought? Have you guys ever had an inner voice that thinks in an accent? Like for the longest time when I was in high school, I had an inner, whenever I was thinking out loud, I would think in a British accent, like. All right, how can we
I think it depends on the scenario.
Yeah, same.
Maybe
All
once
right,
or twice, but otherwise,
I'm crazy.
yeah. It doesn't something that happens that often.
I just like thinking methodically and analytically.
Make you think like you're a smart person. So go freaking British.
It sounds smart. It sounds smart. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I should just stop. So, we did it. We've opened the final door.
Apologize to all of our British friends.
Yes.
Sorry,
good.
Mono.
Spoken with
I am
Elizabeth.
sorry,
Actually, no, wait.
Jess,
He's
Sorry,
Tasha.
Tasha.
technically
and
no,
Fair.
technically.
Well, I was about
He's
to
English,
say,
and he's English, and he totally has an English accent.
Well, yeah,
He says words that are fun to me. Anyway, we've opened the final door. Up ahead lies the Queen's throne room.
Yep.
All right.
Actually, real quick, we say Tasha and Fair. Isn't Nathan also British, Jordan?
Yeah, Nathan Walters and my friend Jess.
With caution, thus I've lived long.
Mm-hmm.
But now, ignoring my instinct,
So it looks like the Cheshire Cat doesn't want to be invisible any longer. He wants to fight because we've inspired him.
Honestly, with that smirk on his face, you'd think he would never think about hiding.
But you will be tested by a more wrenching anguish, Alice. There is worse to come. You and this Red Queen cannot both survive. You are two parts of the same.
Ah!
Oops!
Cheshire!
What the
His
fuck?
head.
What just happened?
He was
The door-
decapitated!
He got squished by a tentacle.
The door opened and a tentacle shot up from the floor because the Red Queen heard about him and knocked his head off.
Well, and
Well,
why she doesn't do
so
that?
much for him helping.
Why she doesn't do the same to Alice?
Well, because again, he says that the two of us cannot kill one another in this weird sense. Like we need to exist at the same time, as will be seen here. The Queen does the cards. Let's get right. There's the Queen.
Who am I?
Gross.
Off with her head.
Well, that didn't last long. And I just noticed that the Queen took off hers.
She
Well,
looks.
she took off her face. That's a different
She looks
story.
she looks better in the sequel. Like it looks easier to figure out. But basically, as they laser. So as they talk about like we are two parts of the same whole. She represents our madness. She represents us trying to force ourselves to have some sort of sanity when we need to just move on. We can't continue to like drive ourselves literally mad trying to make sense of everything. So yeah.
Note how she's kind of symbolically attached to her throne there.
Oh yeah, no, that's nothing. Oh, you have no idea. So.
Or symbiotically, I mean.
Oh jeez. So here are some of the attacks that she can do. She can throw laser beams. She can shoot little firecrackers. She can make explosions. She can just randomly grab you and force throw you, which is unavoidable if you're in her line of sight. And she also has an attack where she'll just grab you and literally pull you over. You can't escape it, and she'll just do a bunch of damage to you. So, best advice I can give is to stick behind these pillars if you can, and quick save, so that you can dodge, or at least be prepared to make a different choice if you mess something up. And other than that, just hit her with everything you've got.
Gotcha.
Ow. And again, the music is really nice here.
So yeah, of course the Queen of Hearts is pretty much all tentacles all
Oh
the time.
God!
Whoa!
Oh, I'm still alive. Okay.
Yeah.
Get to cover.
Should've died.
Okay, get some health. I'm gonna stick right here.
Now that I think about it, this kind of reminds me of that one boss from Kingdom Hearts 2, the guy on his throne, or the nobody on his throne.
Yeah. I'm thinking that. Also, don't mind the texture that's following her tentacle around a little bit. Again, the HD texture pack.
It's the developers telling her that it's time to take a nap.
Oh, we're putting you down. Oh gosh. But I mean, other than that, pretty decent boss. Don't mind the particles going nuts for a second there. Oh
You
gosh.
were using the Void Waspawn.
No, not the Void Wisp. Gosh, I forgot about that. So, I mean, I will say this is definitely some sort of test of patience, more or less, because, again, there's not really a huge strategy to noticing. You're just going to shoot her with everything you've got until she stops moving.
Again, it's basically a war of
Make
attrition.
like couples of yourselves.
Maybe? I know she can start throwing in tentacles, like, hit the ground. So you just have to keep constantly moving, and
Oop.
don't stay on the open for too long. Okay, wait here, because I know she's going to use that freaking force grab attack. Okay, go over here and get some health. But yeah, as Jane said, it pretty much is just a war of attrition, and that's what can make. I guess that is what can make a boss like this drag for me if I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I mean, those little like grunts of pain are a nice, sensory feedback of what I'm doing is right. But other than that, like
it just seems like even with the freaking Jabberwock staff or whatever, that's not. It doesn't really mean much. It doesn't really do anything to really shorten the boss fight.
yeah. But I will say it is one of the best weapons of the game to use this. It is one of the most. It is the best weapon I would recommend because it has a great range and does some of the best damage in the game. two things like this. So we'll just keep shooting her a bit more. I feel like we're just about getting to the end. Oh my goodness gracious! And then we'll get to the final boss. I will say the final boss I think is a lot nicer feeling. Like it just feels like.
Wait a minute! You mean this isn't the final boss?
No, of course not. This feels too like if the game would feel so anticlimactic if in the worst sense of the word, where like it wouldn't feel satisfying if this was our final boss, just because again war of attrition. So I will say the final boss actually feels a lot nicer. There we go. And the tentacle writhes with pain as it is revealed the Red Queen herself was admittedly nothing more than some sort of facade, some sort of puppet. I like to believe that the true Red Queen we meet in the sequel, but we get her power, we get her strength or whatever, and the true source, and the true source of her own madness. It's a literal internal demon.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah. You're facing your inner demons, Alice. That looks like the Mad Hatter.
I rule Wonderland alone. Your interference will not be tolerated. This realm is
That's kind of gross.
Seriously, why is the Hatter in the design?
On the jagged edge of reality.
Represents her asylum. I don't know. There's something here.
Dreamers are not wanted here. They cannot survive here. You fear the truth. You live in shadow.
Get a load of that lip sync.
Attempts to reclaim your sanity have failed.
Eh.
Retreat to the sterile safety of your saved illusions, or risk inevitable annihilation.
But
If you
oh
destroy me,
jeez.
you destroy yourself. Leave now, and some hollow part of you may survive. Stay, I will break you down.
So, yeah, we're basically having a sort of non-metaphorical, very literal confrontation with our own inner demon, because we're saying, no, I refuse to live like this any longer. And confront the final boss we shall.
Yep,
Right.
final boss. Ourself.
In a sense, this represents Alice's insanity.
And it certainly looks insane.
Her own destruction. So, first off, what I'm going to recommend we do is wait for him to show up, and we're actually going to now move over here, following these heart little pieces. So we have a bit of platforming. See a little glowing thing on the right there? That little platform?
Yeah.
That is actually I lied. That is actually the most powerful weapon in the game.
Oh, so there's something even more powerful than the Jabberwock staff. That sucks.
Yep. And I think you can get it earlier, but yeah, this is the best place I know to get it. Is carefully drop down.
Stupid
and
cheap knockoffs.
yeah, goodbye, Jabberwock Ice Staff. I got a gun.
Of course, it's a goddamn gun.
Boom! It's a blunderbuss cannon.
Wow.
However,
Blunderbuss.
Gee, I was wondering where
better.
I was wondering where I left that.
However, as you just noticed, it takes up a lot of mana, so that's where the next part of this boss comes in, which is that I'm going to be firing whenever that thing gets too close to me, and it does go red, which is nice, and I'm going to be jumping around these platforms. It has a couple of attacks. It can fire explosives, it can fire like the little mini missiles that the Mad Hatter used, it has tentacle attacks, lasers, so be careful of those, and whenever I get a good amount of energy, I'm just going to wait for him to get close, right up in its freaking ugly gut, and
Blast it.
boom. And we're just going to do that a couple times until it's dead, but yeah, I guess while that's going on, then so yeah, very much a niche. I was trying to figure out if I should say niche or niche.
Niche.
It's niche.
Very much a niche title. This was. It's very like, not sure what you would use. Okay, there it is. RQ. I mean, they very much had a style. They very much had a direction. Oh gosh, he's a little Jabberwock head.
I'm sure for its time it looked pretty damn good. It's just that nowadays it looks very, very dated.
Very dated. I think the sequel will do a much better job of that. Oh, freaking Jabberwock head. Is that it? No, okay, he's still...
Not
okay, let's
quite.
keep going. Okay. I'm gonna wait for that thing to get away from me before I start making platforming again, because it can hit me off if I'm not careful.
Oh,
Ow.
Oh, wow.
Get the health.
It
Oh,
nicks
no.
ya.
Can you stand still?
Okay. I'm fine. Okay. Wait. It's glowing. That's a good sign.
That means it's almost
Something's
dead?
doing damage.
It's radioactive.
Almost. No, it's not radioactive. That would suck if that thing just hulked out of nowhere. So, but that being said, I feel like they definitely, like, they had a plan to go through with this, and I think they accomplished what they set out to do. And I'm glad to see that the series is still definitely doing alive and well through a cult classic. And with that, our demon is destroyed. You gotta make it flashier than that, dude. There you go.
There we go.
There.
And boom. We've done it.
Is there anything that doesn't explode into 1,000 Devil Damn chunks?
No. Well, no, this is
It's
back
an
in
M-rated game, dude.
They're gonna. And with that, we have purified all of Wonderland by eliminating that demon's presence from our world.
And now Wonderland feels like a Wonderland again.
Yay! And the Griffin's alive.
Oh wow! It's literally the it's literally the Lion King effect.
You know what would make for?
Yay! Go ahead, Hyde.
You know what would make for kind of a very interesting New Game Plus? If you could play through all of Wonderland like now that it looks like this.
Oh, that would be interesting. Just
look,
enjoy
the hair's alive.
again.
The Mad Hatter. Wow. What's
And
the
the
White
Gnome
Rabbit?
Village.
Wow. I'm
Cheshire.
sorry.
Cheshire Cat. And all our friends were saved, even the Mad Hatter, even though everyone still kind of hated him. But our world was brought back to normal, and more importantly, we have not only saved their lives, but our life as well.
We can finally leave this shit shack.
Alice, that's not your cat. What are you doing with that cat,
sequel.
Alice? Well, yeah, she goes through therapy, and we'll see how that worked out. But, yeah. With that said, that was,
That did dream.
that was really it. We will, and then there's some concept art, but that it really just, it honestly just stays on that for the rest of this video. So, yeah, that's basically my thoughts. I think they set out to make a very stylized experience, very much a cult classic. I think this game is, again, kind of a shame. Again, I hate that you have to do literally some weird editing. First off, unless you buy the Anniversary Edition on Xbox 360, at this point, you really have no choice but to pirate this game.
Pretty much.
Because the also this song, I don't know if this song is supposed to play during the credits or not. I just don't remember hearing this song at all played during the game, but it is on the soundtrack somewhere, so I thought may as well use it here, because honestly it was silent for me when I recorded it. So
Also,
maybe
I
the
just
file wasn't
realized that
loaded.
EA published this game.
Yeah, I think they published the second one too. But yeah. So I think I feel it's unfortunate that you can only really play this game now if you pirate it, and even if you own a copy of Madness Returns, which I guess you'd have to pirate that game too unless you bought it on Xbox 360. I don't agree with pirating all the time, but when a company does not provide with you alternative ways to support them, give them money, and get the product, you really like. Bear in mind, Scott Pilgrim Saves the World is a game no one can really play anymore.
Pretty much.
It's digital, and now it's So yes, I feel it's unfortunate that you have to go through. I feel it's unfortunate you have to jump through so many hoops to get this working on PC. But I feel like for what it is, I do think it's a pretty interesting entry into video game history. Well, what do you guys think?
I mean, it's a pretty decent deconstruction of the Alice mythos. I mean, well, okay, I wouldn't say so much a deconstruction, more like, well, going back to its roots of it being the somewhat dark story. Very somewhat.
Yeah.
But,
Very.
like, just twisting it all around and, well, seeing such weird machinations like this. But, I mean, overall, like, from what I've seen, it's not a bad game. It's definitely not the kind for me, though.
That's fair. And I'm glad I got to at least share the experience vicariously with you that way. Jordy, what about you?
I really think that this is an interesting concept. I mostly like the sequel more than the original because that's what, introduced me to this series. But, for what it's worth, despite this game being outdated, having to go through so much trouble trying to get this game to, be compatible for the PC, I did think it was interesting. And I really do like, I am a bit of a sucker as a guilty pleasure for some creepy elements, and I think this was the very first M-rated game that I actually, got hooked on. Like, I didn't exactly play it, but I at least, I guess for lack of a better term, followed it. Like, I followed it.
That's fair.
So yeah, this was, I felt like adding a little bit of a horrific theme to Alice in Wonderland actually did fit. Because, you know, Wonderland is quite insane. And there's so much you can do with it. And that's pretty much all I can say about it, honestly.
I'll agree. I think it's really interesting to, like, see what they did with that. But, yeah, I guess that's my little mouse is waving goodbye. That. Goodbye. Hype, did you have anything else you wanted to suggest?
I'm not really sure if I'm really the right person to give, like, a particular final thoughts, because under usual circumstances, this wouldn't really be the kind of game that I'd be into. Like, I'm not all for the kind of, like, you know, horror, macabre kind of games like this is. Like, I do appreciate certain things about it. Like, I do think that the designs are pretty creative in their own right. It's just part of, like, a particular type of art style or genre that I'm not fully into. But I don't want people to take that as, like, a rating of the game itself. Like, I'm sure it's placed just fine, and the atmosphere is definitely appropriate, and I do like a lot of the voice work. It's just that, again, I'm not quite sure if I'm really the right person to talk about a game like this.
I.e., you don't care.
No, it's just such a contrast from the normal tone, the normal moods of which he does. But yeah, so I will. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Is like they were creative, and they definitely took this in a different direction than Tom and Jerry ever will. Let's just be honest. Just putting that out there. But yeah. With that said, that concludes American McGee's Alice, a game that I literally kind of. A game that, besides showing off as a niche thing, I really only did out of obligation because I do want to do Madness Returns later.
That's fair.
And doing this game just kind of feels like a stepping stone you have to take when you want to get to that point.
Kind of like you got to play Risky's Revenge in order to get a lick of what's going on in Pirate's Curse.
I do want to ask, though, since you brought that up, like, how heavily connected are the plots between the two games? Like, do you need to play the first game to really get an understanding of what happens in Madness Returns?
Not really. Like, they make one or two mentions of, like, oh, I remember you, this character, or oh, this. Like, they make one or two passing remarks, but honestly, the only factoid you have to remember, and we'll keep that in mind when we eventually get to that game, is after this game, after she was able to reclaim her sanity and get herself released from the asylum. It was under the I'm forgetting the freaking word. A condition. Jeez, I'm such an idiot right now.
It's okay.
She was released under the condition that she enter therapy, and we'll see where that therapy leads and how well it's helping her in the next game. But we're not going to do that for a while. So thank you all for joining us for this weird podcast-like thing that could have easily been a look at, but I don't care. I had fun doing it. We had some fun times.
Yeah, as long as you had fun, then that's all that matters.
As always, I was Lucky Jack 20.
I was Jordan the Cat 11.
Yeah, I'm James Bay Extreme.
And you may notice I'm not all there myself.
Honestly, I was gonna wait till Hype gets his word in, and then I was gonna follow up. And I do believe this calls for an unbirthday party.
I was gonna do that too. Somebody pass the mustard.
Mustard?
Till next time, everybody.
Very well.
Bye.